So this was the big one for me. So obviously I met Jeff Kaplan, right? I look swole as shit, and I'm fine with that, dude. And I'm fine. I'm totally fine with that, right? I met Papa. You know what I'm saying? So, so this was that box where I met Moon, right? So I was standing here, and I was trying to think of what to say, and I was so nervous to meet Jeff Kaplan because I didn't know what to say to him. You know what I'm saying? So I just because here's the thing, bro. I'm like, okay, so in my head, I'm like, okay, he probably doesn't know who I am, right? Jeff probably doesn't know who I am, right? And then I'm thinking on the flip side of that, I'm like, okay, if Jeff does know who I am, what has he heard me say about him? So I'm kind of like rattling this in my head, right? Before I go to meet him. Because, I have yelled lots of things that may or may not be that I didn't like. So I'm like, okay, so if he doesn't know me, is that better than if he does know me because I've yelled quite a bit? So I end up, Dylan actually introduced me, Dylan the dev, the guy I was playing the game with, because I'd met Dylan at this point. So Dylan introduced me. He's like, hey, Jeff, this is Tim. And so I thought maybe I should try and be funny when I meet him, like, hey, when are you gonna nerf for Mercy or something like that. But I didn't. I was like, I baited 100%, and I went very, very beta-esque, and I was like, hello, sir. My name's Tim. I never introduced myself as Timthetatman to anyone. I would just say I'm Tim. And so I'm like, hey, I'm Tim, and I just want to say I'm a huge fan of Overwatch. And he goes, oh, I know who you are. I was like, and so at this point I was kind of like, oh god. And so and once again, so at this point I'm rattling my head. I'm like, oh god, what videos has he seen of me? Like, has he seen like these compilations of me just yelling at him and like picking up my phone and calling him? And so I'm thinking about all that, and we talked for a little bit, and he mentioned one thing that I did. And he goes, I saw you do your whole positimity thing. And I was like, oh God. And we talked a little bit about positimity. And now I was like, yeah, dude, I was just tired of all the toxicity. I was just trying to be nice. Feels good, man, in chat. You know what I'm saying? So, so I met him. He talked about positimity to me. So he knew like obviously something about the stream a little bit. So just try to keep the streets clean, man, So I thought I did think that was super funny, but I ended up talking to him for probably we chatted for a good here's the thing, I don't want to take too much of his time because I understand he's a very busy man, so we talked for probably 10 minutes, and then I just said, hey, thanks much, and I didn't get a picture, and I was like, dude, I need a picture. So like later on I was like, hey, do you just mind if I take a picture? He's like, sure. And then this is obviously Jeff Kaplan. So getting to meet Jeff was a very, very humbling experience for me. And that honestly, this may be the highlight of my weekend, just meeting Jeff. No, yes, no. I got to meet a lot of really cool people that I wanted to meet, like Moon and Lass and Trevor, and there was just a lot of people that I wanted to meet that I was excited about. I did see Shroud. I talked to Shroud. He made me feel bad every time. Every time he's like, hey, dude, do you remember me? Because I didn't recognize him the first time that I saw him, because I was, drunk at a party. It was loud, and I just didn't realize it was Shroud. So anytime he sees me now in real life, he says, hey, do you remember me? And I feel like an asshole every time. So it's good. Feels good, man, in chat. So I talked to Shroud for a while. Shroud was actually saying he may try and come play some Overwatch. I was like, hey, man, I'm very curious what Shroud would place in Overwatch. I was telling him I'd be very curious. I would watch Shroud play, because he's obviously, a god gamer, right? So I'd be very curious what Shroud would place in Overwatch. So I didn't get to meet Calvin. No, there's some people I didn't meet that I wanted to. I met XQC. I didn't meet Calvin. I didn't meet Numlocked. I met Sneaky. I met a lot of like Overwatch people that I'd played with. Gods. There was a ton of people that I met that I played with. I didn't actually meet anyone on Team USA, come to think of it. I didn't meet Sinatra or any of those dudes. Jake. But Siegel, I saw Siegel. I'd met Siegel before, so I talked to Siegel. But I talked to him a little. Siegel was actually around here at this time, so I talked to Siegel when I first got there, but I only saw him once, unfortunately. I was hoping to get dinner with him, but it just didn't line up, man. Everyone's super busy. So I met Mangachu. I met Surfor. think I met like everyone. Tally, I mean, yeah, Tally. I've known Tally. I met Kefri, yeah. I'm trying to think of any other like. I met IDDQD, yeah. I met Poke, yeah. See, I met like a ton of different Overwatch guys that I played with and stuff, which was really cool. So that was dope. Grady, thank you for 8 months, Boris.